a deep investigation into how Mexican cartels are building their own war machines. Picture this: a convoy of black pickups, fully armored, rolling through remote rural roads. Inside, 10 heavily armed sicarios. Outside, steel plates, turrets, and bulletproof glass. These aren't military tanks. They're not official vehicles. They're monsters. Monsters built by the cartels. They call them narcotanks. Others refer to them as monsters, rhinos, or even super armored. They are combat vehicles built by organized crime. And no, we're not talking about customized streetcars. We're talking about mobile fortresses designed to withstand heavy gunfire, transport armed squads, and crush anything in their path. In this first part of the documentary, we'll break down what exactly are these vehicles, how and why were they created, how have they evolved over time, and which cartels are behind their construction and use. Get ready. This isn't entertainment. This is a journey into the darkest corners of Mexico's war on drugs. To understand the scale of this phenomenon, we need to start with the basics. A narco-tank is a civilian vehicle, usually a pickup truck, trailer, or SUV, modified by hand to serve as a combat unit. Armored plating, bulletproof protection, gun ports, rotating turrets, internal comms, room for heavily armed personnel. These aren't military-grade vehicles, but they mimic many of the same battlefield functions. And in many parts of Mexico, narco-tanks are now more common than army patrols. Cartels use them to invade enemy territory, survive ambushes, transport shock troops, and intimidate rivals with sheer presence. The story begins in December 2006, when President Felipe Calderón officially declared war on drug cartels. Thousands of soldiers were deployed. Military bases were reinforced. Highway checkpoints were installed nationwide. But the cartels didn't retreat. They rearmed, reorganized, and adapted. By 2009, clashes between rival cartels and with government forces had become brutally violent. That's when the first narco-tank appeared. State, Tamaulipas. Group, Los Zetas. Los Zetas, a cartel formed by elite military deserters, brought something new to organized crime: tactical operations, squad-based formations, and above all, a need to withstand heavy weaponry. The first documented narco-tank was seized by the Mexican military in 2011. It was crude, heavy, and poorly built, but it changed the rules of engagement. Since that first model, narco-tanks have evolved, fast, in secret, and on a large scale. Civilian vehicles with rudimentary modifications, steel plates welded roughly onto the chassis, excessive weight, poor ventilation, slow, clunky movement, light armament. These early versions were often abandoned during gunfights due to mechanical failure or lack of maneuverability. Second generation, 2013 to 2017. Better engineering, reinforced chassis, rotating turrets, improved bulletproof glass, upgraded engines, internal radio communications, capacity for up to 8 armed sicarios. This was the turning point. Cartels began mass-producing narco-tanks. They were no longer a novelty. They were part of the arsenal. Third generation, 2018 to present. Vehicles built from scratch, not just modified. Layered armor, steel, ballistic concrete, carbon fiber. Night vision systems, 360-degree perimeter cameras, reconnaissance drones, signal jammers, front-mounted ramming devices, cow catchers, deployable tire spike systems, capacity for up to 12 armed men inside. These vehicles have become mobile war platforms, offering impressive combat endurance. Let's talk about the groups behind these machines. Not all cartels use them, but those that do use them at a scale. Cartel del Noreste, CDN, direct successors of Los Zetas, control large areas of Tamaulipas. Units like La Tropa del Infierno have been filmed using entire narco-tank convoys. Their vehicles are often heavy-duty, with large white letters showing cartel initials across the hood. CJNG, the most technologically advanced cartel in the country. Their narco-tanks are cutting-edge, with features like night vision, signal jammers, automated turrets. They've appeared in several viral videos, including the infamous Pura Gente del Señor Mencho, Carteles Unidos, Michoacán. Recent reports show the use of military-grade industrial armored vehicles. Battles in Tepalcatepec and Buena Vista revealed full-sized armored trucks. These may have been stolen or acquired through connections to legal armor companies. Los Salazar, Sonora, formerly a Sinaloa cartel armed wing, now operating independently. In 2024, a tactical vehicle resembling those used by federal police was spotted during a firefight in Caborca. High-grade armor and professional finishes suggest industrial origins. Building a narco-tank isn't a DIY garage job. It's a technical, well-planned process that requires skilled labor, industrial tools, specialized materials not available at your average hardware store. Common choices include Ford Raptor, Ford Lobo, Chevrolet Silverado, Suburbans, heavy-duty trucks, and trailers. Key requirement: a solid chassis capable of supporting tons of added weight. They remove all doors, rear seating, original windows, any unnecessary electronics. The vehicle is stripped to its bare frame. Internal metal bars are welded into the frame. Suspension and shocks are upgraded. The engine is modified to handle additional weight. Steel plates between 6 millimeters and 2 inches thick. In some cases, layers of ballistic cement between steel. Bulletproof glass, often reused or smuggled. Armor is added to the engine bay and fuel tank as well. Steel benches or custom mounts for riders. Gun ports along the walls. Some feature internal radio systems, ventilation, and external cameras, often painted in matte black, camo patterns, or dark green. Vehicles are marked with cartel initials, CJNG, CDN, or the nickname of the local boss. Estimated cost, $15,000 to $30,000 US. Build time, 45 to 60 days. Requires a team of 4 to 6 full-time workers. Workshops are located in isolated ranches, industrial warehouses, or urban garages disguised as legal businesses. A key question: where do cartels get their materials? Many of the core components, thick armor-grade steel and ballistic glass come from the United States. How? Through intermediaries who legally purchase the materials and reroute them to cartel workshops in Mexico. According to security reports, these transactions are often hidden behind shell companies, posing as construction firms or legitimate armor businesses. Even though they look invincible, narco-tanks have vulnerabilities, and both Mexican security forces and rival cartels have found effective ways to neutralize them. Barrett .50 caliber rifles, rocket launchers such as the RL-83 Blindite, high-caliber anti-materiel rifles. These weapons can penetrate front armor, destroy the engine, and in some cases, kill the driver through the cabin. In states like Michoacán and Tamaulipas, there have been reports of roadside bombs and homemade landmines triggered as the vehicles pass. In 2023, a Mexican military Sandcat was destroyed by a landmine. If that can happen to military-grade vehicles, imagine the damage these devices do to cartel-made monsters. Cartels are now using commercial drones, like DJI models, modified to drop grenades or homemade bombs. They're cheap, mobile, extremely accurate, and they attack from angles narco-tanks aren't designed to defend. Many narco-tanks have unprotected or partially armored tires. A well-placed shot or spike strip can immobilize the vehicle completely, leaving it vulnerable to flanking attacks. Because of their size, weight, and limited speed, narco-tanks are easy to predict. Security forces or rival groups often wait until they overheat, run low on ammo, or follow known routes. Then, they launch flanking assaults targeting blind spots or weak armor zones. Narco-tanks aren't just vehicles. They are a tangible manifestation of the territorial power that cartels hold. They require logistics, coordination, materials, engineering skills. They prove that Mexican organized crime is not amateur. It operates like a war industry. And perhaps most alarmingly, they highlight where the Mexican state has lost control. In many areas, these vehicles replace police patrols and rule the roads. What can the government do about this? The answer might lie in modern military technology, kamikaze drones. Loitering munitions like the Switchblade 600, USA, or Lancet drones, Russia, are small, portable, and deadly. In the war in Ukraine, they've taken out tanks like T-72S Leopard 2s, M1 Abrams. So imagine what they could do to a homemade armored truck. They're cost-effective, operated remotely, and could neutralize narco-tanks without risking soldiers' lives. Deploying them in states like Michoacán, Guerrero, or Tamaulipas could completely shift the balance. Narco-tanks are the product of 15 years of war between the Mexican state and the cartels. They are proof that the criminal underworld has adapted, evolved, and built its own war infrastructure. And while the government still fights with outdated strategies, the cartels, they're already building the future. If you made it this far, thank you for watching this full documentary. This is Enigmaze, a channel dedicated to exploring what others are afraid to talk about. Subscribe for more deep dive content on organized crime, military strategy, history, and armed conflict, and drop a comment below. Do you think the Mexican government can stop the rise of narcotanks? Or are we entering a new era of cartel warfare? We'll see you in the next video. Stay safe and stay informed.